Greetings everyone, Ray Landis here. I wanted to take a couple minutes and talk with you about this Squier 40th Anniversary Stratocaster in the vintage model. And I wanted to just say a few things about it in case you were thinking about getting one, or if you had considered the idea of trying to use this as a modding platform. First, I want to say that I am not a regular YouTube video producer, and no sense of the definition would apply in my case. This is my very first video of this sort, so I'm doing it because I hope that it will help somebody maybe make a decision as to what you would like to do in regard to this particular guitar. This particular guitar I bought at Sweetwater for $2.99. I think you can get these guitars at a couple places as low as like $250, maybe $260. I think Guitar Center has a few left, but they're starting to run out because it's a 2022 model, and that was the anniversary year. So they've got a few left. They're clearing them out. But I thought, wow, $2.99. I don't really, I haven't really liked Squier guitars because I've played Fenders. I've got, as you can see back behind me, I've got several Stratocasters hanging there on my rack, and I've had American Standards, and I've had different various Stratocasters that were really high quality guitars. This one back here, that's a Player Plus, and then you have a Player Series, and then way over here I have another Player Plus. That's my wife's. But I've had American Standards and different ones, and I've never really cared for Squier, but I can tell you flat out, this is a good one. This is really good, and there's a lot of great features that this guitar has that make it a good guitar just as it is, or else you could use it as a modding platform and you would have something really, really great. So if you don't mind, it's saying Squier on the headstock. In fact, this particular one, that sounds, it looks really good the way it's written there. It's like a vintage style writing, and it just, it's nice. So again, $2.99. The only three colors that it came in, I thought were all three very ugly. It was a blue, they call it a sonic blue with a gold pickguard. They had another one that was a real light seafoam green with a gold pickguard. That one didn't look too bad. I mean, those two didn't look too bad. But the Sunburst, which was this one, had the ugliest look I ever saw. You can see right there at the belly cut that there is a little bit of that yellow Sunburst still left, but it was small in the center, and you really couldn't see much of the yellow, and it didn't have a very good look to it. It was a real wide band of black around the outside, and it didn't have a good look to it. So I thought, wow, out of the three, I was able to get the Sunburst a little cheaper because they originally were $4.99 and they dropped it to $2.99, and you can get them now for about maybe $2.59, $2.69 at some of the places that still have them. I think Guitar Center's got a few left. But my intention was, use it as a modding platform. Well, I got it home, took it out of the box, and I realized how nice it was, as an instrument right out of the box. It has a really nice neck on it. The frets were already really nice. I don't know if you can see, but they're really nice. There's no sharp edges or anything, and it's got a nice profile. It's like a modern C, 9.5 inch radius, and it was in need of some setup, and I didn't think I would like these tuners, the old Kluson, if I'm saying it right, Kluson type tuners with the split piece at the top where you put your string in, you bend it down, and then it's got the old string tree, the old version. I prefer all those newer looking ones that you get on the American Standards, and then of course it's got the old bent steel saddles. If you can see those, Squier is stamped on them, and all the hardware is slightly pitted so that it's got like an antique, or like a worn-in feel. It's not like relict, but it's got like a worn-in feel. So I tuned it up and played it and everything. The action was a little high, and I thought, wow, maybe I can work on that. So I took it all apart, took the neck off of it, took all the electronics out, stripped it all down to absolutely just the bare body. Took it outside with electric sander and started working on it. And I realized as I started to get some of the black taken off, because I wanted to originally take it and I wanted to put blue in the center and then feather that into the black. Well, as I began to sand it down with the electric sander, I realized that color that you see around this outside was actually the entire guitar. So what they did is they took the body and they put this translucent, like orangey yellow color on it, and they covered the entire body with that, and then they sprayed the outside, a large wide band around the outside, with black, and the whole finish was like a satin. So as I started sanding off the black, because I wanted, I wanted to get the yellow sanded off, as it was up just past the pick guard, there wasn't really much yellow showing. I realized that yellow was the entire guitar, and then they put the black over top of it. So I was able to get it sanded down, and then as I started to get out, I started realizing, wow, this is going to be a bigger project than I thought, because I wanted to keep this black around the outside. So as I just started keeping an open mind, as I worked on it, I realized that I could sand all the flat sections, and also I included this arm contour, and I went all the way around to that orange finish, and I did that on the front and the back, basically on the flat sections. And then I had bare wood that I could use some stain on, and I went down to the hardware store and I got Minwax, and this is the color that this is stained is called marine blue, and it reminds me of an old pair of blue jeans. But I sanded it down, got the wood smooth. I used conditioner, and then I put the stain on, and then I put a satin finish and tapered that in. You can't even feel this edge when you run your finger along it, but it actually kind of looks like a binding in some way. It's very unique. This is definitely now a one-of-a-kind guitar, and you can see that the grain looks really nice. So as ugly as it was when I first got it, it's not, to me, it's not ugly. It's kind of like on the lines of a relict guitar, but a little more refined. And you can see that you've got this older hardware here, older looking hardware. They did the same thing to the tuning machines. They're not pitted, but maybe they're acid washed or something. And the tuners are really good. This has got great tuning stability. So after I got the body all sanded down and refinished, I put it all back together. I put shielding tape inside the body, put it all back together, and then I set it up. Just to let you know that when I got inside the body, the pots, there we go. The pots were the dime-sized pots. And the thing I don't like about this guitar is this switch. This is like really flimsy. It just doesn't feel it, and it sticks up really high, and it's really skinny. So it just doesn't feel to me like a regular Stratocaster. So what I plan to do is to take out all of the electronics. I'm going to put in obsidian wire, the blender, where you have your master volume, master tone, and then you have a blender that you can use to blend in all three pickups in certain configurations. So just to let you know, though, that the pickups, they sound great. I don't think I'm going to change them because they sound so good. They're staggered pole pieces. They're Alnico 5s. They are really good. So when I got it back together, I decked the tremolo. And I don't like the old style tremolos. They're flimsy. They got the screw-in arm. They just don't feel very good. But I didn't think I would like the bent steel saddles with those really gnarly set screws that stick up. That doesn't bother me. This thing had a lightweight block, which kind of worried me in the beginning, but I decked it down. I pulled the screws all the way tight inside the body, and I decked it to the body, and then I did a few other things to it. I carved the nut. So across this first fret, I've got like 15 thousandths of an inch. So when you play, like a D chord or an open C chord, it stays in tune. You can't press and put this thing out of tune. Even a G and A, everything sounds really, really good open. And I was able to get the action at the 12th fret down to 60 thousandths of an inch. And then the neck relief between the 7th and the 9th fret is just 8 thousandths of an inch. I have no buzz. There were no high frets. These frets were smooth on the outside. The neck being like a C profile, 9.5 inch radius. You can bend notes as high up as you want, and there was no choke out on the notes. The frets were relatively smooth. I didn't have to polish them or do anything. I didn't have to do anything to the neck. Just had to set it up and get it in, intonation. And you can see that it's flat against the body. This is so stable in tuning that I could play it for an hour or 2 hours, whatever, and then put it on a stand, pick it up the next day, and it's still in tune. Amazing tuning stability. But of course, $299. What can you expect? I can tell you, in my experience with all the Stratocasters that I've had, this particular one is really one of the best. And the way that I describe it, it's like raw. It's got the thin, or what do you call it, narrow, tall, narrow frets, which is like the vintage style. They feel great. I've always played medium jumbo, and I've had some guitars that had these kind of frets refretted by a luthier, because I don't do that yet. But I had them refretted with medium jumbo frets, and I've always gone that direction. But now that this doesn't look so ugly and it's set up, it's honestly one of the best Stratocasters that I've played. I mean, it's amazing when you can play guitar, open chords that don't sound out of tune. You can play, lead solos on this guitar, and it just feels it feels really nice. I think it feels as good to me as any Stratocaster that I've played at any price. And again, a Squier is something that I always kind of cringed at, because I didn't think that they were any good. I thought they were kind of junky. But this particular one, I don't know really what else I can say about it. I'm probably not going to change the pickups because they're Alnico 5s, staggered pole pieces. They sound great. I'm just going to get rid of that electronics, not because the pots are bad, but because of that switch. It sticks up so pointy. I just don't like that. But it's kind of like my go-to guitar now. It's got all the little features that I like. I can see the fret marker is really nice. It's got the skunk stripe on the back. It's got a satin finish on the back. The headstock, the shape of the headstock is my preferred shape. I don't like that really big arc that some of the Squiers have. In fact, the other Anniversary model has that big arc. I don't care for that too much. This one to me is a really nice guitar. It's got some real potential. And if you are thinking about getting one, I want to encourage you. If you're able to do any of the setup yourself, you will find out that this guitar has really good bones, if you want to call it that. You will not be disappointed. If you're willing to put a little bit of your own effort into it, you necessarily don't want to spend a lot of money, upgrading or modding it at a luthier. But it still would be worth that if you wanted to put another couple $100 into it. But I like it. I play it a lot. It's got that unusual look to it. This is one of a kind, and you can easily make this one of a kind without risking ruining one of your more expensive guitars. but now I've got the courage to do things to my, my more expensive guitars. Like those Stratocasters there had the screw-in tremolo bars, and I ordered from Guitar Fetish. They had one. It's a 2-point tremolo on those. This is of course a 6-point, but they're 2-point on the Player and the Player Plus. And from Guitar Fetish, I ordered a tremolo with a nice heavy block, 2-point, and it fit right on. Intonated so easy, with a push-in bar, so stable, just felt really good. And those are only about $50. So if you want to upgrade those, go to guitarfetish.com and you can really get a nice tremolo system. But this is an amazing find, and there's still a few out there, so go get them. Hope you appreciated this. Hope this helped you in some way, and maybe I'll come back with another video. Ray Landis signing off.